Hey everybody, this is the Success Estate Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike Johnson. Thank you all so much for checking out this podcast and this video. I have a great show for you today. I've got some great episodes that we've had, the last 4 episodes with some great guests that I think you should go back and take a look at. My name is Mike Johnson. I'm a real estate agent here in Longview, Texas. I've been serving all of East Texas for the past 6 years, going on 7 now, and I'm sponsored by Coldwell Banker, Linhart Properties. And y'all, thank you so much for coming back. We've had a little bit of a hiatus over the Thanksgiving break. And I hope you were able to go and take a look at and listen to some of the podcasts that I've had with great guests like Kristen Ishihara, Mark Robinson, and Councilman John Nestad. Those are some really great episodes you should go back and take a look at. You should subscribe to the podcast on Spotify so that you get alerts when the new ones come out every Friday. Also, if you'd like to watch them, you can watch them on Spotify now, actually. And if YouTube is your pleasure, then go to YouTube. You can subscribe and hit the ring notification there as well. We're found in pretty much any place that you listen and consume your podcast. So please, it would do us a great favor, do me a great favor, if you would go and subscribe to the podcast. So today, as you can tell, it's just me. I wanted to briefly touch on a few things. Today's show, I hopefully won't be as long as the others are. I know that the podcast sometimes can be kind of lengthy, but they have such great information in them. It's really hard to stop, especially when you get people like Mark Robinson coming on, and he is just delving out lots of great information. We're talking to, if you can't tell, I don't just like to talk about real estate stuff. The reason why I do what I do, for one, is because I believe that it is a human right for people to have a place to live. Now, whether you are renting or buying or selling, all that is important. The second thing that I have is that I believe your home establishes your community. Once you purchase a home, especially, even if you're vested by renting, you instantly become a part of the community. So I think it's in my best interest because I am a man of faith, and I also am a married man. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Alicia, who we just celebrated 10 years the day before Thanksgiving. And then also, I'm the father of 3 awesome young men. I've got several nieces and nephews that are coming up in this world. And I just think it's important for me to try to pour in as many good things as possible to the community so that they have a great community to live in. Longview, sometimes, this podcast is for the East Texas area, but I primarily service and help in Longview. And I want to make Longview as thriving a community as possible. It's got some hiccups. It's got some things that need to improve, but this is what we have, and we need to do the best that we can with it. So when I have conversations with people like Mark Robinson, and we're not talking about SWEPCO, we're not talking about your electric bill, we're talking about how to help nurture and grow up strong young men and strong young people in the community. It's all important, and it all affects your home. So if you have a great community, if you have a great city, you have a great community, you have a great neighborhood, you probably have a great chance of having a great home. So all those things I care about, not just selling or buying, helping you sell or buy a home. It's bigger and it's deeper than that. So with that being said, y'all, we're going to jump straight into a few topics. I got a few topics today that I'd like to touch on. The first thing, the current market condition. I think it's good just to touch bases with what's happening right now, because there's just, in the middle of people making decisions, there's been a lot of change since COVID, and I hate to keep. It seems like every episode I'm harking back to COVID, but it's for a particular reason. There was such a shift in how we operated during that time period that I just feel like it's important for people to start to get a clear and new understanding on what we're dealing with in the market right now. Because before COVID and after COVID, people get information from all types of places, all over the place. They get from friends, from the internet, things they hear at work, all those different. They get information everywhere, and a lot of it, unfortunately, is misconstrued. If you're not dealing with it all the time, a lot of people have a proclivity almost to just take the information that they hear, they chew on it, make some kind of sense to them, and then they regurgitate it back to somebody else, and then all of a sudden misinformation is spread. And sometimes it's accurate information in the wrong context, and that's misinformation as well. So I'd like to start by just giving some more context on the area. If you're watching, you'll be able to see some of these things, and I think it's going to be important for us to just continue to wrap whatever we are discussing in context, right? And I'd like to give you some of that context right now. So if you're looking at just the state of Texas, we're still getting out-of-towners, out-of-staters coming in to our area. I get people calling pretty much all the time, talking about moving this way. Some people don't end up following through, but a lot of them do. Of course, I serve Longview in the East Texas area, the metropolitan area. So that's primarily what I focus on in this information. You'll see that the month of October, we haven't got November's numbers out yet. So these things may change some. But for the most part, we're going to look at single family homes, both existing and new right now. And then we'll look at a little bit more information here in just a minute. But the median price for Longview for the whole area is around $234,000. And that's down 0.5% year over year. Closed sales are 149. We're down on that. We're down on closed sales for the whole area. Active listings is going up. The months of inventory is going up as well. So we were in the 1.2, 1.3 months of inventory during the height of COVID, which is crazy. I mean, it was just hard to live that way. But we are creeping up over and over every month, seemingly to climb up in inventory. You'll see the price distribution here. We moved from where a lot of houses were in the $300,000 range. Now we're primarily back into the $200,000 to $199,000. It used to be before COVID, this was the largest area. Now $200,000 to $299,000 is primarily dominant in our area. As you can tell there's not a lot of homes under $100,000 that are out there and available that are being sold. These areas are dwindling as well. This is the $300,000 mark, the $400,000 mark. Those numbers are coming down. And we're going to talk about all these things here in just a second. Days on market, 42 days. The houses are staying on the market 12 days more than they did in October 2022. It's taking just a tad bit longer to close, just a day more to close. And remember, in 2022, we were coming out of the COVID pandemic at that point as well. People were really trying to get their footing to figure out what they were going to be doing in their lives. But total 80 days on the market transaction time. You'll see here that the median price per square foot is $133 per square foot. That's up 5%. That's a telltale sign. That's up 5%. And then also to the median home size and year built. You see all those things here. Close original list. Those things, we're still closing deals very close to what people are asking for. So that's for the whole area. I'd really also like to take a look at a few cities. So Longview here, you'll see that our median price is still on the up and up. And interest rates are completely different than what they were in 2022, 2021, of course, where interest rates were in the low threes. Some people even got some high 2% during the pandemic. Now some of them were touching 8%. We've had some recent drop. We have 5 weeks in a row of mortgage rate decreases, which is great. It does allow people to breathe a little bit, afford a little bit more home. But you would think that with these prices, especially in October when these interest rates are super high, you would think that these prices would be coming down. They're actually up from last year. Closed sales is down. Active listings is up 53%. We've got a lot more houses to pick from. And the months of inventory is up as well. Hopefully we'll get to a more neutral or stable market. We're right there now in a more neutral market, to the point where people, I mean, I've had several deals where I'm able to get a few deals to include closing costs, and we're able to negotiate the price down some. Those things were not happening at all over the past 2 or 3 years. So some of the competition has subsided, but it's still lingering. You can see in the Longview area between 2 and 299,000. This is primarily where people are buying. 100 to 199,000 is competitive as well. This area start to dwindle, as I was saying earlier. And here's the thing. Let me look at a few more areas. Let's look at Hallsville. Hallsville's right next to is 342,000 median price. Closed sales, only 4 closed sales in October. Active listings is down for them, and their months of inventory is extremely low. It's hard to get into places like Hallsville, right? It's just not a lot for you to purchase there, to get into. You look at places like Kilgore. Kilgore is also a neighboring city. 212,000. Their median price is up. Their closed sales is up. Their active listings is up. Their months of inventory is up. So you've got some opportunities there in Kilgore if you'd like to move that way. If you're coming from out of town, I think Kilgore is a great city. You got some great places to eat there. And if you like to be kind of in between, and not feel the congestion of the larger cities like Longview and Tyler, you can get right there in the middle. Well, not right in the middle, but you can be kind of in the middle. You can be able to get to Tyler very quickly down 31. You get back to Longview down 31 as well, and have yourself a good time and still leave the hustle and bustle right after it. Let's look at Marshall. Marshall is actually down. This is probably one of the most affordable cities in the Longview area right now. This median price is coming down. Their closed sales is coming down. Their active listings is coming up, and their months of inventory. This is almost a buyer's market, right? So this is touching right up against the buyer's market, and their price distribution. Most of the homes are between 100 and 199,000. So if you like the now I see Marshall as more of a classic city. There's a lot of older homes there. There's not as many new builds and things like that happening out there. Most of the new builds are happening outside of the city. But if you need something affordable, you still want to be closer to places like Longview, you can get to Shreveport in no time. Marshall is a great city to live in, and even on the outskirts of Marshall, going toward like Elysian Fields and things like that. Those places are up and coming to it, where you have some space. Now it's costing a pretty penny, but you have some space, and you can still get to some of the larger cities. Let's see here. I was going to do one more. Where did Henderson go? Henderson is here. Henderson's median price is up 42% compared to last year during October. I mean, it's climbed dramatically. Their closed sales are down, but their active listings are way up, and months of inventory is climbing as well to that neutral market. I think Henderson is a great little town as well. You see their price distribution. If you're wanting to move to Henderson, you're going to be in between $299,000. There aren't as many houses in the cheaper ranges of 100,000. There are a lot of great houses there. What I like about Henderson, I feel like, and this is my anecdotal feeling, the houses that I've sold there, they feel more spacious. It's a classic town as well. There's a lot of older homes there. There are a lot of bigger homes for sale, in my opinion. And then also too, they've got some great accesses to places like Nacogdoches and Lufkin. You can get there in about an hour. So I like the city of Henderson as well. I don't want to leave out. Let's see. Let's look down at another place that I know people like to move to is White Oak. Again, White Oak, there's just not a whole lot of houses for sale there. 23 active listings, and also too, their price is high. It's high to get into White Oak. Now it's a school district that I'm hearing is heralded. People like to move into White Oak, and I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say about White Oak because I don't have a whole lot of experience there. I've sold some houses there. I've sold some different listings there, but I don't have a lot of experience there. Here's the crazy thing: there is no actual houses between 300 and up, or 200,000 or less. Everything is between 200 to 299,000. That's pretty amazing to me. So yeah, just wanted to give you a quick synopsis. I want to talk about these things here for just a second. So why do we look at all that information? I think it's super important for one to get a great understanding, or try to get as clear of an understanding of what's actually happening in the market, to determine what moves you should make next. I do believe, it is my personal belief, that the best time to buy a house is right now, because you don't know exactly. People are going to say that they know what's happening in the near future. Well, actually, a lot of people are kind of backing off that now because a lot of people got schooled by the market, myself included. I made a prediction that I thought that the prices would start to drop about this time. And it turns out that I was wrong because of certain factors. The main thing that I believe is that we underestimated the demand. The demand to buy houses was basic economics is supply and demand. And we didn't have supply in the market during COVID. People couldn't move, of course, so there wasn't many houses to purchase. At the same time, the interest rates dropped, so people realized, hey, I could buy a house and not pay nearly as much as I did in the past. So people just started coming into the market more and more and more and more and more. The demand rose, the competition rose, so the prices shot through the roof. And maybe it uncovered the houses true value. Maybe that's what it was, because what we see now is that at the median price, you're recognizing that home values are still on the up and up. Homes are still valuable to people, and they are paying for those homes. You would think that as inventory rose, as supply went up, that prices would go down. The housing market is funny because what we do when we sell a house is we ask for a certain amount of money. It's not a sticker price. We ask for a certain amount of money for the home. People come in and buyers then determine the value of the house, not the seller. The seller doesn't determine the value of the house. The seller requests what he or she thinks the value of the house is, and then buyers respond to that. We've seen prices drop, but we haven't seen them drop below the values of the past. So, for instance, the $278,000 in White Oak. Let's go here to Longview. Longview, I think we're at 274. That 274,000 minus 14%, whatever that was last year. I'm sorry, I can't do that math off top of my head. Maybe that's like 60 some odd thousand. Well, if we're putting houses on the market at 290,000, people are saying, no, the house isn't worth 290,000. You're asking too much, but I will buy it at 275, right? And the houses last year were $265,000 on average. Even though the prices are dropping, the asking prices are dropping, the home values and what people end up paying for are still rising. right? So those things are still happening. We have more listings than we've ever had in the past 3 or 4 years. Inventory has gone up. Closed sales have gone down. That means people just aren't buying anything. Like, you just can't put anything on the market anymore. There were the jokes out there, people putting up like doll houses and things like that. And that was all funny. But now you really have to price the home according to what's been happening in the neighborhood, because that is an indication that buyers are willing to pay that amount. When a house sits on the market, any house will sell. Any house in America will sell. It has to sell at the right price, though. What that price is, it could be minuscule. It could be a lot. What the market is saying, when somebody is sitting on the market, when a house is sitting on the market for months and months, it's just your price is too high, right? The values, what you're asking me for, does not meet the criteria in which I spend my money. So housing prices are coming down. It's becoming extremely important for all of us, anybody selling a house, to price it competitively. What you would rather have, what I tell all of my sellers, what you would rather have is people coming in and driving the price up than nobody looking at it and driving the price down. Why? Because once the price starts dropping, people start wondering what's wrong with it. They start saying, hey, this is an opportunity for me to get more from you as a seller. For a buyer, that's a great thing. Hey, I want to, and this is the tug of war between buyers and sellers. Neither one of them is wrong. But if you're a seller and you're trying to get the absolute most for your home, you need to price it competitively, not asking an astronomical amount, because buyers can tell what's fair. If you're a buyer, of course, you've got more leverage now to be able to go in and say, hey, this house has been sitting here. Obviously, the market is saying that this price is too high. Let's come down some to a more reasonable price, something that fits my budget, something that fits what I can afford in this current market, not just housing market, in this economy. Something that I can afford and myself or my family can feel good to be here, not thinking that we're going to break the bank in order to do so. So we'll continue to see. I think we'll continue to see housing prices, not increase a whole lot, but they'll start to plateau pretty soon. That's my prediction. It may all be thrown off because I'm hearing rumblings of the interest rates dropping here in the future. For those that have bought over the past year, if your interest rate is pretty high, that may be great news for you, because you can come in and refinance and get those monthly payments dropped and save you some money over 30 years. For those that have been sitting on the sideline, it may be time to start stretching, getting warmed up, get in the batter's box. I forgot what they call that. You're on deck. You may want to get a few practice swings in, because if these interest rates drop, you're not the only one getting on deck. If you look around you, there are going to be other people saying, hey, I'd like to buy a house now too, something that I deem affordable. At this current price, if we get a lot of buyers come back in, it's not going to be as affordable still. So my suggestion to people is just get in the game. Get in the game now, especially the wintertime. There's not nearly as many people moving. It's not nearly as much competition. So once we start to thaw out, here in the next couple of months, people are going to start warming up and wanting to get back in the housing market again. So those are my thoughts on the market. I think you should definitely, if you're thinking about purchasing, I think this is a great time for you to do so. Don't tarry, don't wait, don't hesitate. At least start to have the conversation with your lender. At the very least, just start to say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing, and I need to see if I'm qualified. I want to make sure that everything is in order on my side. That way, when the time comes, I see the right house, I make a move just like that. So keep that in mind as we're moving forward. And thank you. If you're listening right now, please hit the subscribe button. please hit the subscribe button and hit the ring notification, so that the bell notification, so that you can find out exactly when these episodes are posted. You're going to find a lot of great information coming up. I'm excited about the guests that we have here for the end of the year. So if I wanted to also address, let me also say, keep your eyes on the mortgage interest rates. Like I said, they are coming down. If that continues, it could be a great time for you. I wanted to touch on another thing. Over the last month or so, actually, it was at the end of October when the National Association of Realtors was in a trial, and them and another few companies, brokerages, were in a trial. And basically, the home sellers, the general tag of home sellers, basically made a claim that the real estate agency, the National Association of Realtors, and these brokerages artificially inflated commissions paid to real estate agents, and then also, of course, making them less money. I read a lot of interesting arguments. A lot of them I didn't agree with. So I wanted to let me say that the verdict did come out, and the National Association of Realtors was found liable. These other companies as well, to the tune of $1.8 billion. The verdict also allows the court to issue treble damages, which could go up to more than $5 billion. Woo! Now that's a lot of money, and a lot of money has been made in this industry. I think that it is very important for people to have an understanding of what we do as agents, right? Because yes, this could send shockwaves through it's currently being appealed, but it could send shockwaves through the entire industry, and things could change. And I do think that there are people out there that do things intentionally in order to get over on buyers and sellers. Let me say that. There's definitely people out there. I know. I remember one of my bosses, when I was working at a company here in Longview. He came to me when I first became an agent. He said, "Hey man, I had basically a family transfer of from house from one family member to another, and the guy charged me 8% to handle that transaction, to get all these documents together and everything, and pass it from family member to family member." And my mind was blown. I just couldn't believe that somebody would charge that. Now, here's the thing. All of you need to understand this very important point. Is either the first or second thing that I was taught in real estate school. Everything is negotiable. Everything, including my commission, including the prices, the condition of the home, all these things. Everything is negotiable in real estate, because it needs to be that way in order for the process to be fair to everybody. I can come in myself and have a set amount that I charge. You don't have to agree to it. You could use a different agent. You could ask me, "Hey, would you do less?" I could say no, and we both walk away amicably. The thing that was argued here was more so that the different brokerages and everything, they conspired to make sure that people paid 6% or 5%, whatever that amount was. And therefore it increased the cost for the seller and decreased the amount that they would net from each sale. I would like to empower you right now to ask questions, to shop around. Even people that are friends, family of mine, I suggested them, hey, if you would like to shop around, it won't hurt my feelings. You need to feel like in this process, you need to walk away with the gut feeling and then also to the mental checkpoints to say, I'm working with the best agent, right? Or if I'm not working with the best agent, I chose this agent and I know that I have other options should things go south, right? You're not locked in to 5 or 6%. I may not work for you if you decide, hey, I'll pay less than 5%. That's my choice, right? That's my choice. These are all options that you have. All of us have options in these transactions. So if it's you deciding whether you want to work with me and pay my commission, or whether it's me deciding whether I want to work for you at the amount that you're willing to pay me, both of us have decisions. Both of us have options. There are people out there that you can pay a very small amount just to like even just have your house listed for sale. I just don't recommend it, right? It's not that you shouldn't do it, not that you can't do it. Well, I don't think that you should do it. Let me say that. I wouldn't do it. How about that? I would not. Knowing what I know about what it takes to sell a house, I would not do it. I also had a very recent experience where somebody listed a house for sale that should not have listed a house for sale, and they went through like a discount broker, and the broker didn't even do any checking, any fact checking of whether this person really had the legal right to sell this house or not. They put the house up for on the market, and when my buyer was interested, I found out that that the house shouldn't even have been on the market. It was crazy, and in those situations, they're not advising you, they're not helping you in marketing the home and things like that. And we're coming up on a time period where you are going to need to market the house. You're going to need to push the home and sell it. You're not just going to be able to post it and then turn around and have an offer 2 days later. In most cases. In some cases, for the really good houses that are priced competitively and priced correctly, yes, they still go in a day or two. So that's the first point. The second point one of the points they were making is that hey, these sellers did not want to. They thought it was unfair for the buyer for them to pay the buyer's agent. I will admit that I have used wrong terminology before to say, like, to talk to buyers and say, hey, your agent is free. You should come work with me because it's free for you to work with me. That's not technically true, right? On either regard. So I can see a seller's gripe in saying, hey, I don't know what let me say, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure that I get all this correctly. My issue with the stance that was taken was more so that it was saying, hey, why would I pay my competition? You're not paying your competition, because what happens, of course, as a seller's agent, I'm trying to get you the most money possible. As a buyer's agent, I'm not necessarily trying to get you to pay as little as possible. I'm trying to make sure that you pay what's fair, and also make sure you are well represented and that you are treated fairly in the transaction. If that means you get a low price, then great. I want to try to save you as much money as possible. If it means, hey, this is the asking price and it's a fair asking price, and I think that you should try to go for this, that's going to be my opinion. At the end of the day, you're going to make the decision. I think that it is not an accurate statement to say you're paying your competition to be represented. The buyer is not your competition. The buyer is your friend. Any buyers that come to buy your house is your friend. Of course, you're wanting to get as much as possible, but you're also wanting this to be a fair transaction, because if not, well, here's a couple of thoughts to think about. For one, your price wraps up the buyer's agent's commission, right? So that the buyer is able to be treated fairly, they're able to have the correct amount of information. If the buyer doesn't have an agent and I'm helping you sell your house, I'm not moving over. Now I have a fiduciary right to make sure that I do what is fair to everybody, but my job is to try to get you as much money as possible, right? So they're not represented. I'm not trying to trick them, but I'm also not going to give them information that is not necessary, right? I'm not going to be advising them or anything like that. My whole goal is going to be to help you get as much money as you possibly can. That may make them feel a little bit like, oh man, I didn't get all the information. Right there, it starts to become a little risky. Yes, I will make sure that, hey, you've all your disclosures, we've given all the information possible. We try to make sure we stay on all timelines, but there's risk for you in a couple of areas. The buyer saying, hey, I feel like I was taken advantage of. That we will cover our bases to make sure that we disclose everything possible that we possibly can, but you just never know how people are going to react. It's also important for the buyer to have representation because you would want them to stay on track and on time with the deadlines in the contract, right? Imagine if you've done everything you're supposed to do, the buyer doesn't have a clear understanding of the home buying process, and so they miss out on some timelines. Let's say they don't utilize their option period correctly, and they, all these different type of things. They don't get their inspections lined up, or something like that, or they don't have the contract submitted to their lender. Different things like that. So maybe either your closing time gets pushed back, or they start asking you for more option period, or they, feel duped. Oh man, I didn't get a chance to use my inspection. I didn't get a chance to do an inspection, so I went out of the deal. Even if you keep their earnest money, you're still going back on the market. In my opinion, that's one of the things that I don't ever want to happen for my sellers, is to go back onto the market. It's not because it's a death wish or anything, it's death knell or anything like that. It's more so because the questions start to arise as soon as you do. What's wrong with the house? Why is it back on the market? They don't say what's wrong with the buyer. They say what's wrong with the house. They think that somebody backs out of purchasing the house. The only reason why they do that is because there was something wrong with the house. That's a question that I just don't want to be brought up for any house that I'm listing for sale. It happens, but still. So I think that it's important for the buyer to have representation. Even though it seems like, hey, you're paying for that buyer to have representation, you're really not. The buyer is paying for that. You wouldn't have any money if the buyer didn't bring you money. The asking price is including, whenever you get your net estimate, that asking price is including the amount that you would pay to me as your agent, as your selling agent. As your listing agent. I split that amount with the buyer's agent. I don't technically have to. Well, I don't want to. Let me not conflate 2 points. So for one, the price that is being paid is, whether the buyer understands it or not, is including their representation. Imagine a world where you as a buyer, you have to pay a down payment, 3.5% or more, 5%, 10%, 20%. Let's say $100,000, $200,000, that's $7,000. You got to bring $7,000 for a down payment. Then you got another $6,000 to $8,000 in closing costs, and on top of that, you have to pay 1%, 2%, 3% for an agent. Y'all, the affordability of houses is going to drop your price, right? So just the mere fact that somebody says, hey, look, I can't afford this. I can't afford to do all these things. You only pay top dollar. I got to pay all these things to the mortgage company, and then I got to turn around and pay an agent to make sure that I'm represented well. I'm just going to go rent a house. I'm just going to go rent an apartment because I can't do this. I can't pay all this money out and then turn around and I got to start paying mortgage on top of that with high interest rates. That is not in your favor as a seller. It's not in your favor. It's in your favor to go ahead and pay the agent and the other agent as well, to protect you, to protect the buyer, to help this transaction go as smoothly as possible. There are so many variables in getting a house under contract and sold, closed. It's just so many variables in there. I would try to eliminate as many as possible. And then on the other tip, when we sit down and we list your house for sale, I ask you for a certain amount. I disclose to you what I'm paying another agent to help me get your house sold, right? Because I don't know everybody, right? And if I'm listing multiple houses, I mean, I know I'm focused on your house, but if I'm listing multiple houses and things like that, I can't also come show the house. Well, I could, but more than likely, I'm not going to be showing the house all the time. I'm not going to be also sitting down, explaining contracts to buyers and things like that. I pay somebody to come alongside of me and help me get this house sold at the best possible price. That helps in several different ways. When all these buyers, so the multiple listing service is important because it brings all the buyers and all the sellers together. Central hub for information, how much you're asking, anything wrong with the house, when the house was built, different, all this. It's a hub of information, and then all the buyers, agents can see these houses. Now you're marketing the house out to multiple listing services as well, and there's going out to multiple buyers agents. These buyers agents are hungry. They want to sell. They want to make some money. They want to do a good job. So what they do, they send it to their clients. Hey, look at this house. Did you see this house? Sometimes buyers are just busy. They're working, or they're tending to family, or they've got different things going on, events and things like that. All these things could be a possibility. If we only consider or hope that a buyer will show up, for one, the buying pool is going to shrink. It's going to be less competition for your house. And anytime there's less competition, you're going to see a decrease in price, right? So you're actually probably working against yourself if we take out this industry standard practice. I hope that people will consider that. I know that buyers are now turning around and they're suing as well. I think that people just need to be careful. I am a DIYer. I like to save as much money as possible. I can understand where people are coming from with the sentiments like, hey, I just don't understand why I'm being charged this amount, why these things are happening, why am I paying this exorbitant amount of money for a house? Why? What it is important is for us as agents to start to explain clearly what my value is as your agent. I'm valuable to you, right? I understand most people sell a house once or twice in their life. They buy a house once or twice in their life. You have very, very limited understanding of the housing market. You can do a lot of research. You can do a ton of research. And yes, most people can purchase and sell a home. Most people can do that. Most people are smart enough to be able to do that. Should you do it is a different thing, because you may be able to just get the contract filled out, but do you understand the contract? Do you understand the timelines on the contract? Do you understand your obligations in the contract? Can you understand what happens if you don't fulfill the contract? Can you understand where this contract is, what's supposed to be done with this contract? Do you understand the lingo on the contract, just the terminology in itself, for both sides? As a selling agent, as a listing agent, I mean, being able to market this house, to be able to price it competitively. Here in Texas, you can't see the sold prices. That is the foundation for putting a house up for sale. How much are other people getting for their houses in the area? You can ask me, hey, how much did you want for your house? And you can see the asking prices all over the place. What people actually sell their houses for can make or break, tens of thousands of dollars for you, right? Not only that, my access to the multiple listing service. A lot of people, if people say, hey, I want to sell my house myself, I'm going to give you as much information as I possibly can without giving away my value. but I'm going to give you a ton of information on how to list your house for sale. A lot of people I'll look up and you'll see for sale by owner signs in the yard or on the street corner. It's like, how many people do you expect to drive by here? Even on Judson Road, 259, I-20, whatever it may be, you still got a limited amount of eyes in comparison to what would happen if you put the house on a multiple listing service and you put it out for everybody to see, right? So I think it would behoove anyone to work with an agent when buying or selling a house. It's just, some people will say, hey, there's no use for an agent. I can do all this myself. If you can, more power to you. Be my guest. Save those dollars. Make sure, though, that you've covered all of your bases. And know there's things like lemon laws in place for a reason. I think there are certain types of laws that protect buyers. You want to make sure that you're covered as much as possible. Some liability I take on as your agent. I take on some of that liability for you. If you just sell it yourself, if somebody gets upset with the purchase, buyer gets upset with the purchase, they're going to be looking at you, and you've got no mediator in between. Of course, you can always get an attorney. I suggest an attorney, and if you can afford a real estate attorney, get yourself a real estate attorney. But for the most part, if you are dealing in any purchasing or buying, it's just my professional opinion that you should get some representation. It's just too many. I mean, I see people all the time bring me contracts like, hey, look, I'm doing this, and I'm like, you actually put yourself in a bit of a bind on either the buyer or the seller. You put yourself in a bit of a bind. If the buyer says, hey, no, you got to hold true to this contract that you signed, you're in a bit of a hole. If you're a buyer and the seller says, hey, these are my terms, you may have put yourself in some constraints. It's best to just have the Solomon, the Proverbs writer says, in all you're getting, get an understanding. And that's what I have as an agent. I have an understanding, and I like to use it to my people's benefits. So I hope that didn't sound like a soapbox type of thing. I'm not on soapbox, but I do think that there are things that people should understand. The grass isn't greener on the other side, and just because this is a terrifying win for the plaintiffs. It's a terrifying win. You may not. Be careful what you wish for is a saying that's heard. This is something that I could see having a lot of negative ramifications. So if this appeal doesn't work out and people start having to make certain changes to protect themselves, the brokers start having to make certain changes to protect themselves, and buyers and sellers start changing their tune and say, oh, no, we don't need you real estate agents. I think it's going to be a different world. I think there's a lot of value in real estate agents. And if you're a real estate agent listening, it's time for you to start practicing how to describe the value that you give. It needs to be clear. It needs to be concise. It needs to be weighty, so that when you turn around and say, hey, will you pay me 5 or 6% for this, people can understand and get on board and not feel like they were duped. I do know, like, there's literally a house on the market right now where it was a for sale by owner, and I reached out to the gentleman and said, hey man, I'd love to sell your house for you, and I told him the reasons why I could help him get his house sold, and he said, man, I could do all those things myself. Turns out he couldn't. And I'm not gloating about that. I wish the best for him. I told him, hey man, if there's anything I can give you, let me know. But this is not nearly as easy as people think it is. But we just have to do a better job of making clear, hey, this is what I do. This is why it's beneficial for you. This is why my expertise is worth your dollars. With that being said, y'all, the last thing, please subscribe. Of course, if you're listening right now, please hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Like it, share it. I always share this on Facebook. So if you're watching through a Facebook link, please share it. Send it to people that matter to you. I would love to be a voice of reasoning in their ear. the last thing, we're into the Christmas season. We just passed my favorite holiday, Thanksgiving. We got a chance to see a lot of family. It was a beautiful time. I hope everybody else had a great time as well. But we're rolling. We're now in full fledged into the Christmas season. My Christmas music is blaring. I am very serious about the Christmas time period. I always like to focus on my Lord and Savior, Jesus, but I love all the things that come with it, with this time of year. I'm not big on gifts, but I am big on family time and festivities and things like that. I love playing my music, going to the festivities, starting to do little things, watching a lot of classic movies. I save all of my music. I may sing like one or two tunes throughout, a month or something like that, but primarily I save all my Christmas music for just the day after Thanksgiving. All those different things. I don't celebrate after Halloween like some of y'all, you traitors, no, but I do feel passionately about keeping the season during the season. And I wanted to share a few activities that were going on primarily in Longview and the surrounding areas that I think would be good for you. If you don't have a lot of money to spend, I want to encourage you, don't go broke over Christmas. I love Christmas as much as anybody else. Don't go broke over it. It's not that important. Christmas is a time for giving, not a time for going in the red just to make some money. If people can't understand, I am a little bit on a soapbox right now, but if people can't understand, hey, I can't afford to buy you everything that you want just because it's Christmas time and you're supposed to get gifts. Well, too bad. Too bad. It's time for people to put themselves in a good position, especially if you're thinking about buying or selling a house. Don't spend up all your down payment money here. I know you think you're going to get it back in income tax. There's no guarantees. Protect yourself during this Christmas time. If you're looking for some free opportunities, I just enjoy seeing the lights. My boys enjoy seeing the lights. Downtown Longview, the inmates have at the courthouse. They've done a great job putting up the lights. They do a great job every year. I even make it a point when I see them start to put them up early in November, late October. Hey, thank y'all for taking the time, for being trustees, trustworthy enough to come out and do this work, even though you may be serving some time. Thank you for pouring back into the community. If there's anything about giving during the Christmas season, I think finding new ways to give to people is important. And I'd like to just give a little encouragement. When these people come out of the prison system or the jail system, I hope that they'll come in and be productive members of our community. And I want to encourage them by saying, hey, thank you. This work that you do matters. It matters to me. It matters to my family. Am I back on the soapbox again? Sheesh, let me get off of this. Ellis Pottery also has some great lights out there. Now, this last one is not free. It's free entry. Carmela's Santaland. Y'all, we don't have to drive all the way to Canton in order to see Santaland. They have wonderful lights out there. We've had this for several years now. Most people see it. I would advise getting there early, maybe 5:30 when it opens, because getting in line around 5, because that line gets long all the way down 259, wrapping around Judson Road. It almost gets to 1844, to the light on 1844. That line is so long. But it does move pretty quickly, so get there, have your tablets in the car, so that you can watch some movies, download some movies and things like that, have some snacks, use a bathroom before you go, right? Your kids, have them use a bathroom before they go, because you can be in line for quite a while. And at the end, they take donations. It's a time of giving, so give a great donation once you get to the end of that, so that we can continue to have this repetitive thing happen every year. Hopefully, they'll be adding new lights. I know you can get out now. You can walk the lights. You can walk through some lights. You can take pictures with Santa. You can get refreshments and things like that. They've got a gift shop, all these different things. We got to continue to give so that we can provide more for the community to go and experiment. I think the parade just happened yesterday. on Thursday. This will be out on Friday, so I'm recording this earlier, but of course the Longview parade, downtown parade, will be Thursday night. A couple of things that I think you should be aware of happening December 9th and 10th is the downtown Longview gingerbread walk, which I think is pretty interesting. Be a lot of things happening downtown that you'll be able to go and be a part of. Some family fun activities. You could go to WOW, the World of Wonders. You can build a gingerbread house for $20. Big Wood House and Home, Books and Barrels, Bubble Bar. Judd's has some holiday special drinks. Oil House Brewing Company will have themed yoga. Pink Candle has gingerbread candles. Silver Grizzly Espresso has festive drinks. Wild Honey Creamery, gingerbread ice cream samples and gingerbread cones. So there's a lot of different things happening downtown, and that's on December 9th through December 10th from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. on December 10th. Another thing I think would be really cool, you got Christmas card making at Hardison's Marketplace. They'll be giving those away. So if you want to go, that is Saturday at 10 a.m. Come and go as you please. And 10 to 1, I believe. You can go and make holiday Christmas cards, and those will be handed out in the community. So you get a chance to go use some of those creative juices and make some cards. Also, out a little outside of Longview, this is in Lakeport, but of course, still considered Longview. There's gonna be an angel tree gift wrapping party at Trinity Baptist Church there in Lakeport. So I think that would be a great thing if you're looking to give. I don't have a whole lot of money, but you got some time, you got some effort that you can pour in. That gift wrapping party would be great. You can go and bless somebody in the community. The toys will already be given. The toys are coming. I believe I read somewhere who was going to be providing those toys. Now, the gifts are from Trinity Baptist Church, so you can go and participate. And then you've got the 12 days of poses. Now, I think this is also coinciding with the downtown Longview Gingerbread Walk. That's at the Oil House Brewing Company. Saturday at 11 a.m. This seems really cool. Christmas cookies class at the Holiday Inn here in Longview. I think that'll be something cool to take your young ones over to. Let's see. You can get 6 cookie designs: reindeer, Christmas tree, gingerbread, candy cane, holly, Santa hat. So you can purchase your tickets. They got, I think, 9 tickets available, and you can purchase them. If you go to Facebook, to the Facebook events page, you can find that, and you can purchase tickets. Let's see. Also, let me see what those tickets turn out to be. Let's see. They got the Longview Museum of Fine Arts Polar Express. That's Sunday at 3. I believe those tickets are $45 a piece, I believe. I believe that's what I saw. $25 per child. I'm sorry. $25 per child. That's from 3 to 5 p.m. on Sunday. That may be an interesting one. We like to go to the Polar Express train. I believe that's what. Is that Palestine? Jacksonville? One of those. Light Up Longview. I believe I'm saying this right. It's Flugers. Now, they're a bike company here, and you can actually ride, walk around, or scoot down the city trails. All you have to do is bring a small box to donate and enjoy. You can enjoy food, music, and some giveaways. So that would be really cool. Let me see. I had just a couple more things. There's another Christmas cookie decorating at the bakery cookie decorating class. Now, this is at Sweet Creations there. I believe that's on, is that High Street? $45 a person. I'm not sure exactly where that is, but it is here in Longview. Oh yeah, 807 North High Street. Yep, 807 North High Street. $45 per person, and 6 Christmas cookies is what you can make. So that would be a pretty cool outing as well if you have the time and the bread and the dough. No pun intended. You get free photos with Santa at Longview Regional Medical Center. That's at 3000 North 4th Street in Longview. That's Thursday, December 14th. So if you're interested in getting pictures with Santa, this would be a free event that you could do. And then last two, on Friday, December 15th, you can make a holiday ornament at the Longview Arboretum and Nature Center. That's December 15th at 11 a.m. This is a free event as well. So if you're looking for free things to do, if you like me, you like free things to do with your kiddos, especially. I got a lot of kids, three. I got 3 kids and some nieces and nephews, and I would like to go to free events. Thank you, Longview area community, for sponsoring free events. And then DJ Hasbro at 101 West Tyler. I thought it'd be cool when I saw this. I've never had any experience with DJ Hasbro, but the Longview Spins. He's got Horsing Around, Holiday Jazz, got Thelonious Monk, and several others that he'll be spinning and you'll be listening to. I love jazz music. I love any opportunity I get a chance to listen to some jazz. It'd be great if it was live, but of course, any jazz that I can get my hands on, get my ears on, would be great. And then also, too, they're giving away 3 copies of the Charlie Brown Christmas album. So super classic album there. Wonderful album. You may get a chance to get your hands on that. So those are a few events that I saw in the area that I thought I would just share, just because it's the Christmas season, and just the season to be giving information on where to go and not spend a whole lot of money, but then also have a great time. So if you have enjoyed this episode, I really hope that you will take a moment to subscribe. I really appreciate all the support. We're rolling into a new year. We got a couple of awesome guests that we're going to end the year with, and end this season with, and then we'll come back at the beginning of next year with more great information. I would love your input on guests that you would like to hear from in the Longview area. It doesn't have to be just Longview. It can be Tatum. It could be Gilmer, it could be Gladewater, it could be Kilgore, Hallsville, Henderson, whoever you think would be interested. I'd love to reach out to them and invite them on the podcast. And it doesn't just have to be real estate related. This is a podcast for the community. I like to be able to give great information about the community. Sometimes that's great. Sometimes it's not so great. Sometimes it's topics that we just need to discuss and get a clear understanding on. If I can be a hub for that, I would love to and enjoy doing that. Go back and check out the last few episodes, and if you would, please share this episode with somebody that you know, that you're fond of, that you care about, as this will be great information for them. If you have any other events this Christmas that's going on that you think people should know about, feel free to drop that in the comments as well. Thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you.